Peter, the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get started on the banjo?
Well, I was living in New York City as a young teenager, and a friend of mine whose brother was into folk music, this was back in 1960, he had a record of Flatt and Scruggs, and I listened to, he said, I heard you like banjo playing, listen to this, and it was Earl Scruggs playing Shucking the Corn, and boy, that really impressed me. It stuck with me a long time. And then when the people started getting into folk music all around the country, so did a lot of my friends, and one of them showed me a little bit on the banjo, and I just got hooked on it about when I was 14, and started practicing quite a lot. And
now you and I come from the same school. We both learned by slowing down records. Now, thanks primarily to you and another guy named Tony Trischka, the young banjo players these days don't have to do that. Exactly how did you get into the business of writing books about banjo?
Well, I had been teaching banjo. It took a while for me to figure it out on my own because, as you say, there were no teaching materials at all, and it just took listening to the records carefully, and I finally figured out not only how to play, but then also how to teach it to people who came up to me. And then it was about 72 or 73, a friend of mine said, "Peter, you should write a book, you know." And I said, gee, I really could. And I within about 3 days, I had sat at the typewriter and just sort of written out the content of all the lessons that I had been given, you know, all the way from beginning to advanced players. And it all just sort of tumbled out. And Oak Publications picked it up, and now well over 100,000 banjo players have copies of it. And hopefully they're all sitting and practicing right now.
Well, why don't you give us a little demonstration of a couple of styles? Whatever you'd like to do.
Well, one thing I like to play is this Cripple Creek. It's a real, it's considered kind of elementary, but I like to put a Scruggs-style sound behind it.
Well, what is Scruggs style?
Well, all right, Scruggs style is basically what Earl Scruggs did, which is manage to find a way for the three fingers, first three fingers on your right hand, to play together and make a kind of rolling sound, and then combine the left-hand notes with it. And if you work it out just right, you can get tunes and melodies emerging. So let's see what I can do here.
Very nice, very nice. Now, you got a little carried away with some fancy stuff there towards the end.
Oh, couldn't control myself, Terry.
Okay, we're going to try to do something real crazy here now. I say this is crazy because I'm not anywhere near your caliber of a banjo player, but we're going to play a tune called Old Joe Clark. We're going to do this double banjo. I'm going to play the melody, and you're going to play the harmony, or I'm going to try to play the melody, you're going to try to play the harmony.
That's right. We can't promise it's going to work, but we're going to just try our best, aren't we?
You betcha. Okay, I'll just put this microphone here.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you a little introduction.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peter Wernick.
Thank you, Terry.
We'll be right back with more of the 8th Annual Bluegrass Music Festival of the United States right after this message.